DNA change aftermath of bad. Now, the previous video is about bad boys. This is more relating back to it. Alright? Now, whether it's a bad boy or bad girl, I'm pretty sure nobody even mentioned about bad girl. But it's like equivalent version. Toxic relationship, and everyone is we all draw and we're addicted and wanting to get back. But at a very young age, we all know that in a high school age where you're innocent, your youthness, and you're attracted to one or the other. But once you have a high body count and once you slowly understand how to play the game, your DNA has eventually forever has been changed. You know how to manipulate, you know how to get to the area of using toxicity and as well with attributes, because based on your physical looks and things like that. Now obviously there's always when you go back to high school or college, there's always a girl that everyone wants to chase. There's always a guy that everyone wants to chase, right? But once they have learned it, they've gone within their circle and they broaden their circle outwards, whether they're dating something higher, a lot older, and you change their DNA forever. They are physically forever dysfunctional, damaged forever, and without their knowing, they can have the fast life where majority of the people get the slow life. Okay, so when I think about it and the way how it is, how is that actually impacting the society, as right now what we're seeing a lot of seeing a lot of these videos, but correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm too red pill, or maybe I am too strongly emphasized in this area. But the reason why I am into it, because I grew up as a very dysfunctional family, and I know my parents did not went to that sort of shoes, and it made me realize why back in the days there's a phase on, you know, when you get married or kids when they're 12, they either to be kicked out or they have to establish another life or starting their own family at a very young age. At the time where marriage and divorce, it wasn't an option. Cheating, it wasn't an option. But when I look back at it and I look back at it now, how much is meant by now when they have religions and putting on place, making it difficult, right? So you have that, right? Then you have now everyone is themselves king and queen. They can do whatever they want. They can act like royals and things like that. And once they have tasted this DNA, now they are forbidden, bad and dysfunctional. Now, how is this going to impact in the long run? My family always told me never date at a very young age, or never experience at a very young age, because it was going to spoil your education. It's going to spoil your future. And it's right in a certain degree, because if you know how to be part of this toxic or bad, or understand how it works, you're drawn to that DNA and it's forever change you. And no matter whoever says to you to not continue this behavior because it's deviant, it is not the way how it should be, but they're addicted to it. They cannot forever change it, right? So whether if it's a working girl, whether it's a fuckboy, whether it's in regards to those who are very lucky with the temptation, because they are expert, they know in and out. And this is where it becomes a problematic when I watch many of those videos of red pill, where now there's a lot of, even my mates nowadays are saying like they don't know how to date a girl or how to find a match from a woman, find a match, like not as in a one night stand or just being fuck buddies. So when you turn to what it is, it's become confusing, and nobody likes a normal relationship because it's boring. That's why the DNA has changed the badness, and you're getting the spoil of the milk, and that's the way how it is. The olden days, if you speak to your grandparents, they say you have to find a guy who's this, who's that, loyal and bringing money, and a family orientated man. Same as a woman has to be a loyal and as a family giver, raising your child to be successful. In the Western world, as we know now, nobody wants to have kids. Maybe they don't want to commit in a long-term relationship, and has become, and everyone's addicted to bad toxicity, bad boys and bad girls, because nobody is going to criticize you on being a deviant or a horrible society member, because now everyone is doing it. So when you have like that sort of notion, and nobody has a proper guidance how to be good, because your surrounding and the law and the social media has influenced you to attract this negativity, bad toxicity. Man, what's wrong with me? Toxic. You guys understand what I'm trying to say? Like that word, but now it has DNA changed you, and even when you go back to a right person, a family provider, or those that who able to provide a future with you, regardless you rejected, or perhaps you won't sustain it longer, because when you hit your prime, maybe your youth, you don't want to choose that option. But even when you get older, even regardless if you have a high body count or the bad DNA is stick within your genes, even when you stay in stable income, not stable family relationship, where you establish or whether close paying off a house or having the luxurious car or the lifestyle that you have, you still wanting to go back to the bad DNA change, because it is what's ingrained, and the what's that word again? The brain chemicals addicted to that bad DNA, right? Now, the reason why I am making this video, and one part of it has influenced with this video, and I'll put the links below, is the fact that this, I'll say, matured age woman who has divorced his husband because of the jealousy of her previous dating partner. Probably is bad or good, and now the guy, he's smashing or living a good life, having one night stands or having beautiful women, and having this single lifestyle as a toxic now, and that's the reason why she's jealous and realize her life is not worthy. Life survival is not like what we see on the TV all the time. Once you're married, once you have a family, you should be settled down. But when you have that sort of notion, it creates a different vibe, and that DNA bad gene is still on you, and you still want that moment back again. That was one of the main reasons why I made that this video. But to look at the bad, how it destroys your ecosystem, your lifeline and everything, whether you progress later, and regardless what's the outcome, or regret, or having a form of sexual disease because of the high body count or the casualness, and not knowing what's the right direction. And the society that we're in, unfortunately, is encouraging that, because now single or being casual is a lot more popular choice than being a family orientated or starting or even getting to married. All right, or even if you do getting married, many of us do not want to have multiple children, maybe maximum one. We get to hear a lot of them who are divorced after one or two child or things like that, and that's where it becomes a bad DNA. Then when you have a single mother or a single father raising a child, this is where the bad DNA kicks in even longer, because you don't have the intact families to look one or the other, and the poor attachment where kids are forced upon, and long duration hours with childcare and as well aftercare, because of the breadwinner has to make the money. Now, with including on top right now with the inflation, it makes it even worse. So this whole DNA, bad DNA, is gonna be staying for the rest of their life, that they are addicted to draw, that is reprogrammed in their brain. So that is something that I've been thinking about, and the way how it was, I was brought up, wasn't the most popular kid, or wanting to be the popular one, wanting to have that sort of lifestyle, but I never know, maybe tomorrow my partner walk away, or myself, I'll walk away with the family, because of the the impression of the society and the social media and the surrounding. Now many people says, why am I living this suburb? Why don't there's a huge difference between living this suburb and that suburb. In a poorer suburb, there's a lot more that sort of bad behavior. It's acceptable, lot more conservative, and a lot more instant gratification and impulse thinking to grasp that sort of thing. But what I'm trying to say here now is with the bad DNA is grasping regardless where you live, regardless where you're in. And that is something that I cannot control for my daughter to ever get to the stage to make her understand, because her social circle is going to be the same and she doesn't know, and she's really stuck to this bad DNA. So it is what it is, and it has affected upon on the future upon. But the one good thing about Australia is it doesn't always necessarily means that if you have a PhD master degree, you always have a millionaire bank account. This is always skilled. But my concern is every father out there would like to raise their child as normal as possible. You try to protect them. You try to taught them. You try to taught them the way how you as a parent has went through, and don't want your kids to repeat the mistakes that you've done. You make them learn and grow to understand why you don't do that. But unfortunately, I don't know what's the next 10 years going to be like. Now we have Tinder and Bumble. My sister is, just found her love partner through a Tinder at the age of 18. This has become a norm now. But now as you get older, now it's becoming a lot more confusing. When I watch a lot of those videos, a lot of women started to understand how they cannot attract a good man, or a woman or a man was cannot attract a good good girl, because of the fact that it's the boringness and not fun or thrilled or stimulate the body chemicals or the mind chemicals, and we are drawn to this bad DNA, and it's like a dose that is forever. It's been in your bloodstream, and unfortunately this is how it destroys our bloodline, our surname, our ancestors has fought for, and since day one this is the generation of the Western civilization.